I got a roadway, and I've got a tree. That tree needs to come down. So the first thing in my felling plan is my landing zone. That's the first thing I need to determine really before I can even look at anything else. Is my landing zone. Is there somewhere I can put this tree? Let's see how good my stick's got. Give me a number. What's that? 1 inch. 1 inch, okay. 1 inch. Open my landing zone, and then I'm looking at hazards. Does anybody see any hazards here? And then, I'll determine my height. I'll use a stick, and just for training purposes, we'll say that tree is going to land 6 feet from the road. So now I need to determine leans. Does it have side lean? Does it have back lean? And you always want to determine your side lean from where the tree is actually going to go. It's going to be different. It's going to give me different information. I need my information from where I'm going to actually place the tree. Now, I need to determine if it has forward or back lean. In order to do that, you need to go 90 degrees. So this was my tree. I did my side lean. I did my side leans from here. I need to go 90 degrees to figure out my front and my back lean. Sight down my arm to the furthest point of the canopy on the right, furthest point of the canopy on the left. Bring my fingers together, and just like a plumb bob, come straight down. So this would be the furthest point of the canopy. All this stuff is calculating in my head. You with me, Marty? All that is calculating in my head. As I'm walking up, the first thing I do when I get out of the truck is I look around, is there somewhere I can put this tree? And then I'm looking at hazards. Then I'll do my stick technique. I'll make sure the tree will actually go there. Then I do all these things, and it doesn't take you long to do it once you get in the rhythm of it. Because I've had folks I'm training, well, that takes too long. This is where the rubber met the road for me when I took Tim's class the first time, because before I took his class, I would have never thought about cutting that tree down. Because the only way I knew to make a tree go was where it wanted to go anyway. So the tree's got 24 inches of back lean, 36 inches of side lean. So to compensate for that side lean, I'm going to use the felling sights on my saw. So I've got 36 inches of side lean this way. I'm going to aim 36 inches in the other direction to compensate for that lean.
You'll see it when if we get it over the right way.
I'll sight down my felling sight to that line, to my where I'm going to aim 3 feet away from where I want the tree to go to compensate, and I'll sight down my felling sight, and I'll hold the saw right here in this curve, and I'll start making a cut. .24 inches of back lean, So now we got to figure out how to compensate for that. And that was really a scary one for me until I took Tim's class and he broke this thing down. So instead of thinking just about a tree, I want you to think about blocks of wood. And we're just going to think about the bottom one right now. Let's just, for math purposes, we'll say that's 12-inch square block of wood. And it's going to pivot on this corner. If I can drive a wedge underneath this block of wood and I can pick this side up 1 inch, how far is this going to move right here?
How tall is block of wood?
12 inches, square block of wood. If I pick this up 1 inch, how far is that going to move? 1 inch, right? So drive this wedge in there. If I can pick that block of wood up 1 inch, the front of it's going to move. So if this was a 80-foot tall pine tree, so instead of thinking about a pine tree, think about blocks of wood, 80 of them stacked on top of each other. And I move that bottom one 1 inch, how far is the top one going to move?
80 inches.
80 inches. So 90% of people that die in the US die within 15 feet of this stump. So if I can get 16 feet away from it, what's the percentage of that I just cut of my life being lost? 90%. The importance of that escape. Because if he hadn't thought that through and he went that way, he could have been in trouble. But he thought it through. That's the great other thing to me with the open face notch. And guys that do aerial work will tell you the same thing. With that open face notch, I haven't taken away a ton of structure when I do that. This is your open face notch, 70 degrees, and you want to be about 80%. So this is 100% of the width, 80%. And then your hinge material needs to be 10%. A lot of people have done a lot of research to figure this out. So we're going to bore cut. I bore cut almost everything. So I'll take my saw with this starting edge, I'll work my way in, right in the middle of the tree, and I'll work my way up and set my hinge. Backstrap needs to be, I usually say about the same size as your hinge, or maybe a little bit more of wood, not bark. So drive your wedge in. If it's forward leaning, when you cut that back strap, it's going to go get to your safe spot. If it's back leaning, you can start tapping your wedges and overcome that back lean. Make sense? You can learn a lot of stuff online. You see a lot of people doing stuff and talking about saws and all of that. If they're not following OSHA standards, ANSI standards, I wouldn't listen to anything they say. I try to say that during every class, because where I go and I'm teaching, these guys are watching YouTube and they're showing me all this stuff. If somebody's got their hat on backwards and they got their Crocs on, I wouldn't listen to anything they say if they're running a chainsaw. If they're drop starting and all that stuff. So just good solid programs are gonna teach people the right way.